This is E-Man Booze. Corsair Artisan Distillery has been making some truly unique craft spirits over the last 6 years or so. And they've won all kind of awards, everything from Craft Distiller of the Year from Whiskey Magazine to countless others. And I'm not going to get into all of them today, but they're out there, trust me. Now what Corsair does differently than a lot of other craft distillers, they just come up with these off-the-wall spirits. Stuff like quinoa whiskey, 9-grain bourbon, hot monster whiskey, red absinthe, vanilla bean vodka. They do all kind of crazy stuff. And you know what? It pays off because they're producing spirits that nobody else is producing. And that's why they won so many awards. And their spirits are good on top of all of that. So they got started back in 2008. There was these two childhood friends, Derek Bell and Andrew Weber. And they used to brew beer in Derek's garage. They brewed beer and they even made wine too. And then they started this biodiesel fuel business, and they started trying to make biodiesel fuels, but their business was a prototype, and after a while they hit a real snag in the road and decided that you know, it's a hell of a lot easier to make whiskey than it is biodiesel fuels. So they switched gears, and Corsair Artisan Distillery was born. That's a cool story. I love that story. Now today I had the chance to correspond with Aaron Markham. Aaron is the whiskey ninja. He's also a distiller for Corsair, and he was the first one to make this here Old Punk spice and pumpkin whiskey. And he told me all about how it's made. So I put some in a glass a few minutes ago. We're going to nose it up and taste it in just a minute here. But I want to tell you how the spirit's made. Alright, so here's what they do. They take 100% two-row malted barley and they make a distiller's beer, but with no hops in it. Then, after they've done their mashing of the beer, they throw it into their still at the Nashville, Tennessee location, and they do a stripping run. They take out the heads and the tails, and they have what's left, which is called the low wines, and they take those low wines and they transport them to the other distillery in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And that's a different type of still. So what they do is they pack the low wines in the still with some pumpkin puree, and they start running the still, and after a little while they turn on this what's called a gin basket. The gin basket is filled with nutmeg, cinnamon, allspice, and ginger root. And the pumpkin vapors come up the pipes, up the tubing and things, and they go through, the vapors go through the gin basket, and it collects all them spices, and then the spirit come out the other end. And when it come out the other end, it's about 130 to 135 proof on average. So they stick it in two types of barrels. They stick it in oak, new oak charred barrels, number 2 and number 3 char. And there's 5-gallon barrels and 15-gallon barrels. They use both types. And then they also use some used barrels from some of their other whiskey products. Very typically they'll use the Rye-Mageddon barrels, and I'm sure some of that rye goodness gets imparted into this spirit as well. So they go into the barrels. 3 to 5 months later, the spirit's ready. They proof it down to 46 ABV or 92 proof, and off to the stores it goes. Now I got this bottle here a little over a month ago, and you can see I put quite a dent in it, me and my buddies, my wife. We all been drinking it over the past couple of weeks. It's so good for this time of season. But let's get into it a little bit. Let's nose her up, taste her, see what she all about. Remember, got to keep your mouth open when you're smelling these things. First thing that jump out of you is the cinnamon and the nutmeg. You definitely get those. But if you focus on the spirit a little bit, you can pick up things like vanilla and ginger. And here's one that I pick up a lot, is dark cocoa. Dark, unsweet cocoa. I get it a lot in here. And I pick up vanilla tones. And I'm sure that's from the used and new oak barrels that they use in the aging process. But I'm picking up a little bit of a fruit note. I'm thinking of something like either a dark cherry or maybe even a blackberry. But I'm getting a little bit of that. And just a little hint of pepper. Now this got some volatility here in the nose because of the proof. You got to be gentle when you're sniffing it now. It's not too hot or anything, but it do have some power behind it. Alright, now you can smell, when you got to really focus here, but you can smell some of the squashiness, some of the, like, you know, pumpkin in the squash family, right? You can kind of pick some of that up in there too. It's not vegetal now, not herbally in any sense of the imagination, but it is, you can get just a whiff of it in there. Let's get it on the palate and see what we tasting. Kind of remind me of like pumpkin pancakes. When I take the pureed pumpkin out of the can, you know, make a pancake batter and put it all in there. The cinnamon jumping out at me real good. I'm picking up that allspice note. I'm definitely getting a lot of this dark chocolate tone in here. The bittersweet cocoa tones. Get the vanilla here. There's a nuttiness to it, almost like a little bit of an almond tone, or even a macadamia note to it. And that ginger. That ginger's there too. Let's give another whirl here. There's a little bit of white pepper on the back note. A little bit of anise in there too. All that stuff coming from the char. It's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. It's a big boy now. It's a serious sipping whiskey. It's a thinking whiskey, a contemplative whiskey. I really like it. I really like it. I can't wait to get into some more Corsair Artisan products down the road here. One more swirl. That cocoa note's something else. I'm loving this. Now, CorsairArtisanDistillery.com or CorsairArtisan.com. That's the website. Let me make sure of that here now. It is. It's CorsairArtisan.com. Check them out. Check me out. I'm E-Man Booze. You can find me on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and I write the Distillery of the Month column for MainStreetDistilleries.com. Speaking of Main Street Distilleries, if you're in the market for an aging barrel, if you want to age some of your own spirits, you can do so. Go to MainStreetDistilleries.com and use my coupon code. Where's my coupon code at here? Use my coupon code. Come here now, coupon code. Use my coupon code E-Man. If you do that, you'll get 10% off the barrel price, and they throw in the shipping for you. That's a good thing right there. Remember, Corsair Artisan Spirits. Check them out. Bye, you all.